Welcome to the Great Wrestling Debate, everybody. We're in the middle of a short build up to Battleground. It's coming up rather quickly.
Got one more week
Yeah,
left.
already it's the go home Raw and SmackDown is next week. So
And Hell in a Cell is only 3 weeks after that. So
really, it's
Survive,
3 weeks. Wow.
3 weeks after the Battleground, I think it's Hell in a Cell, and then I think it's like 4 or 5 till
So longer
Survivor
than that.
Series.
Yeah.
And hell, if that's only TLC, then the road to WrestleMania pretty much gets underway at WWE already. So
Yeah.
it's amazing how
Well,
fast wrestling goes by in a year. So
yeah. Especially when these pay-per-views. Battlegrounds, yeah, I guess we can agree it's kind of looking like a mediocre pay-per-view
yeah,
thus far. And I mean, definitely it doesn't help when, you only have 3 weeks to build it up, and it being like a new concept too.
mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, the good thing, who's gonna become WWE champion, there's that little twist, how it was vacated.
Yeah, it's vacated.
And I was hearing ideas, that they could have used, from, they should have tried to maybe implement a tournament to, I heard that from Aaron Rift. He thought an idea like that would be good. But
I don't know about a tournament.
But I mean, I at least think it would have been cool to
because
maybe
pretty much it got stripped because of a screwy finish between Bryan and Orton. So for me, those two still have unfinished business, and I still think we're heading towards another screwy finish because I still am looking at Hell in a Cell as the rep for this feud.
Yeah, and that could definitely be where the stipulation comes in, but it could have been nice to maybe add some kind of stipulation here at Battlegrounds too.
Well, there is a rumor that they might make this an Iron Man match.
I heard that as well.
I mean, technically, if because if that's the case, I see maybe a tie.
Yeah.
Same amount of falls. And hell, it might even be a 60-minute Iron Man match, which Daniel Bryan a 60-minute Iron match. Sign me up for that. That's actually a pretty. And Randy Orton looks pretty impressive in the 60-minute one against John Cena too. So these guys can, to me, go 60 minutes. Yeah. I mean, I could see that it's the same fall. I mean, obviously WWE, I think, has a brain fart about the whole. If it's a fall, then it goes to sudden death. But there's been plenty that it's a tie and it just ends in a tie.
Yeah. Oh, I guess we gotta end the pay-per-view. We still don't have a champion.
That for me that makes sense, especially if Hell in a Cell is where you want to actually wrap this thing up. Because for me, a Hell in a Cell match, that match type has always been designed to end a feud.
Right.
Because really, it's a very important.
And this year they can definitely do that. Yeah.
So, well, that's the thing. I mean, I always say, like, for Ryback and Punk, it actually started a feud.
Yeah, it kind of just start. Yeah.
I mean, for me, Hell in a Cell is so big; it's designed to end a feud.
Yeah.
And especially one that has some kind of personal vendetta right now.
Something new for Daniel Bryan, and something that Orton hasn't been in, in a long, kind of match we haven't seen Orton in a long time.
Not since Mark Henry, I believe.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. So
back when Mark Henry was relevant still as a main eventer, but no, I mean, but that's what I would do. So obviously, based on the fact that there's only been 3 matches announced, and I don't. A whole lot more being announced.
This is kind of feeling like Night of Champions, where everything just kind of,
Well, Sam Marshall brought an interesting thing. He said because there's been a whole refund idea.
I heard about that.
Yeah. Well, first of all, the one thing is about the whole. They did like the whole idea that Daniel Bryan's title win got, revoked.
Yeah.
To me, that's storyline purpose. That's stupid.
Yeah.
But they felt like the whole show sucked, and to a degree, it did. Especially since some of the Dolph Ziggler and Dean Ambrose on Raw.
Yeah.
And based on what I've heard, their match on Raw was better than their pay-per-view match.
Yeah, that seems to happen a lot.
Plus the Rush tag team match between the primetime player. I mean, not to mention the Triple H promo to open up how did somebody say it? It felt more like an episode of Raw than a pay-per-view.
Yeah, an extension of Raw. Yeah.
Which is not really a good sign.
Yeah.
Because like I said, Raw. This is the problem with Raw going 3 hours. Because now it's the same amount of time as the pay-per-view is. Except for WrestleMania, which is 4 hours.
Yeah.
Because now you have fans are going to say, I wasted this much to watch an episode of Raw, which I can watch for free on cable. I mean, so to me, I hope somebody at WWE learned their lesson. I mean, like I said, I looked at most of the card. Del Rio, Rob Van Dam. I mean,
again, yeah, and I don't.
Not to mention the way that match ended was
Yeah,
that was a stupid finish.
Yeah.
All we did was hang on to the armbar. Would let go. Van Dam had his whole. Would break the 5 count.
Cheap. Yeah,
That's
it's
the
like
stupidest.
Typical cheap.
I'm fine with a DQ finish, but that's the stupidest DQ finish I ever saw. And I said, Punk and Axel. I mean, like I said, Curtis Axel. Nobody took this guy.
Right, and now
nobody. And now he's taking a backseat to Ryback. So
yeah. I mean,
who hopefully can now.
With Paul Heyman, yeah.
I mean, to me, the feud never died because Paul Heyman's just so damn good as a heel.
Right, yeah.
And tonight was no different.
Coming out in that little scooter.
The little scooter. And then it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Then it's a miracle. I can walk.
Yeah, he's just faking it. Yeah.
I mean, Paul Heyman, nobody is better than Paul Heyman. But, and having Punk wear the Blackhawks jersey was pretty nice, too. So,
it was a nice touch.
It was in Chicago. Obviously, they rather wanted to see him face Randy Orton, which could be the next feud for Orton down the line, maybe. You never know.
Maybe, yeah. Yeah, and then, of course, I had that brawl with, it was like a double team, with Ryback and Curtis Axel. So, I don't think that does Ryback a lot of favors, Kind of looked like Punk was, for the most part, getting the better of the,
Except for the numbers, pretty much.
But then eventually, of course, Ryback, gets him up on, and drops him to a tape.
Oh my God!
So bad ending for CM Punk. But I thought it was a nice touch. It was funny how, when they were getting ready for the Divas match, they were showing Punk, walk out of the, kind of playing up with the fact that
he was
hurt. And people don't really care that much about the Divas match and don't care if they're going to show CM Punk on the side getting up.
Pretty much at this point, it's amazing how many heel face turns have happened now. Because now the face divas are all from all the total diva divas, including the Bellas, who were this massive heel team pretty much. And then you have the non-total diva divas led by AJ. Who I think is still one of the most entertaining.
Although you feel like...
And it was pretty funny when she got knocked out and she's like dazed and getting carried by Tamina because she's very tiny.
Although it feels like she's like a face, like she got when she was backstage getting interviewed, she was getting cheered. Like a big pop.
Like I said, she's been happy.
I don't know.
She's been entertaining on commentary. She they said there was that pipe bomb she did to the Divas.
I don't know if some people know how to react to the.
Well, let's be fair here. When she did that pipe bomb to the Divas, pretty much all the total divas, she was pretty much telling the truth. And when fans view that as, I agree.
Like
with
when Punk did that, that's he was getting a face reaction.
And not to mention when she was on commentary the last two weeks, she was entertaining. I mean, obviously, you had the whole Natalia microphone malfunction, but she was entertaining. That wasn't planned, obviously, because you can see Natalia still trying to yell, and and very soon Jerry Lawler had the common sense to get somebody yells, "Jerry, just give her your mic," and she finally does. But AJ was just still playing it up as if storyline wise, and of course she got Jerry Lawler to shut up.
Yeah, the match was secondary.
I still love that, Jerry. I main evented 3 Monday Night Raws. Yeah. When? and Jerry and it's like 3 times. And she said, "You would know that, Jerry, if you actually watched the product." Boom.
Yeah. So, and probably I don't think there's any really good divas right now to really challenge for the Divas Championship as it is. It's a weird time right now. There's all these, all these tag team divas matches, and it's
at least on the positive side, the Total Divas has been renewed for a second season.
Really, so it's funny because I haven't.
So it now has.
I haven't heard as much.
It now
about
has.
That
it's pushing more towards a longer run than the XFL.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's funny though that this was a show that originally was going to be part of this WWE network, which now I'm starting to believe is never going to happen.
Yeah, haven't heard from it in a long time. Which
is sad because I'm so looking forward to Legends House.
Yeah.
That reality series with all these legends in one house. kind of like a Big Brother. No. I'd say more like a real world, pretty much.
Yeah.
Have Roddy Piper, the Iron Sheik. Hell, maybe Hulk Hogan. Maybe if it goes back to WWE. Just all these old guys in one house together. To me, Tyler, that's money right there. And who knows? Maybe they might get picked up there because, I mean, you look at some shows, CSI and NCIS, they do spin-offs based on those shows because of how successful those other shows are. So if he's happy with the Total Divas ratings, and based on the fact they're renewing it, they are, and even giving them more episodes next season, including the now the infamous Natalia and TJ Wilson wedding, pretty much, because that's his name, TJ Wilson, not Tyson Kidd.
Yeah.
That's one thing I always laughed at, is the fact that we're going by real names now.
Yeah.
It's not like, okay, why can't we use these names then as the wrestling characters?
Yeah.
Why is it some made up name that you're pushing as the real name?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, we'll see what happens there, but just feel like bringing emphasis on the Divas.
Yeah, and of course the Shield have, they've had their work cut out for them lately. With all these, originally on SmackDown, they had that big tag team match going. Kind of a gauntlet, and then it was interrupted by Triple H, and then Monday Night on Raw.
Something tells me we're getting close to the Vince McMahon face turn. It's supposed to happen eventually in this feud.
Yeah. Who hasn't been on? Yeah, he hasn't been around for over a month now, I think.
To me, we're building towards that now.
I mean, it'll be interesting to see what happens. Because it seems like right now it's like there's not as much Orton coming out with Triple H and Stephanie McMahon. Right now,
well, actually, if you think about it, Tyler, if you think about it, there's 4 different feuds with the McMahon family right now, pretty much. There's the Daniel Bryan feud. There's the whole Big Show thing going on right now.
Right.
There's the whole Rhodes family thing going on right now, too. Actually, maybe 5. You got the Miz now added pretty much to the feud. Plus the coalition of all the talent that came out of the help Daniel Bryan. That's 5 feuds for one family.
Yeah, it was
interesting. It took a majority of the show pretty much tonight.
And speaking of Big Show, Miz, it was interesting, for the first time in a while now, Big Show, knocks the Miz out without really, any hesitation. So, yeah, it's
I got to ask you this, because this was starting to trend on YouTube, and I kind of noticed this too. In fact, I didn't even realize this was Miz's father based on his reaction to the whole match.
Yeah.
What was your thoughts on his reaction to his son getting his ass kicked by Randy Orton? Which was pretty much no reaction.
Yeah, it was his mother was there.
His mother was
playing up a realistic reaction, but...
and she did a fine job, getting crying in tears. I mean, no, she did a great job. I mean, to me, that's what they want. But
his dad just kind of stands there, give
me his.
What's
oh my! It's. I've seen reaction like that before, but it was Stu Hart. But at least Stu Hart had a reason to have a stone cold kind of no reaction when that happened. But still, he had no reaction.
Yeah.
Even when Orton was staring at him, nothing.
Yeah, that's quite funny. But.
Someone even said that this is it. This guy should be hired, much like John Cena Sr. John Cena Sr. Gets hired once in a while to do some stuff. Because, and his gimmick could be he's in the corner of everybody who's fighting against his son. Because he apparently, his gimmick could be he thinks his son's a major letdown.
Yeah.
And would just like to see people kick the crap out of his son.
Yeah. But definitely, with that, I mean, definitely lately they're working with the, Randy Orton being more diabolical and these attacks.
Which, once again, Hell in a Cell, perfect way to end this
perfect environment for that. Yeah, so, and like you said, there's different branches with this feud right now, but
it's all surrounding one family.
It is. But it definitely evolved since the weeks of Daniel Bryan constantly getting attacked and beaten down on.
And you know what? I'm actually fine with Big Show not being attached to Daniel Bryan anymore.
Yeah.
To me, Bryan never needed that to be him. Big Show to be attached.
It's temporary. And,
I mean, to me, the Big Show feud is better off just, like you said, him just being separate, pretty much. Because to me, it's a separate feud. Now, let's all laugh about the whole idea that Big Show's in actual financial troubles, and if he would get fired yesterday, he'd be. To me, this is almost as ridiculous as the Shawn Michaels JBL storyline they did a few years ago. Granted, they at least acknowledged that Triple H offered him some money and that, but still, let's be fair here. Shawn Michaels is not Ric Flair.
Yeah.
He didn't piss away all his money on booze, alcohol, and women.
Yeah.
especially since he's a born again
Born again
Christian now,
Christian.
and
Yeah.
Prince doesn't touch alcohol anymore, no drugs. I mean, the guy's retired.
Lives on a ranch, and
Yeah.
has his own. I think so.
I
Yeah.
think he had his own show on the Outdoor Network, his own hunting
I
show
think.
before.
Yeah, I think I heard. Yeah.
I don't think it's on anymore though. But yeah, I think he went hunting. Like he went. I never watched the episode, but
he's been sporting the camo, the hunting gear every now.
Well, supposedly he did shave the beard, and supposedly he will be making an appearance in a future Raw, which explains the whole
I would
Triple H line of Daniel Bryan, which I knew had to happen eventually. We had to eventually have a Shawn Michaels Triple H old fashioned argument.
Yeah,
especially it's the whole Daniel Bryan student of Shawn Michaels. Though, like I keep saying, really a student of William Regal, but hey, it was the Shawn Michaels wrestling school he got trained at, so Shawn got the paycheck.
Yeah.
So I just remember that he had that hunting channel on it, and I don't know. I think he had Austin as on a few times. He had Triple H, I think, on an episode one time, which I think is funny. Watch Triple H try to hunt in that, but
he's not like the Texans that Shawn Michaels and
the only guy I wish they would have had on, because they know he's also from Texas, but I'm surprised he never had on, was the Undertaker.
Yeah,
because he lives kind of more life.
Yeah,
like usually if he's not wrestling, he's like really not in the public about it.
Yeah,
I mean that's just how he lives pretty much. Yeah. So you can't get everything you want. So no, but I don't even think that's on anymore, which I think is kind of sad because I think the few episodes I watched were somewhat entertaining. Watching Shawn Michaels do the typical hunting. Okay,
yippee-ki-yay,
motherfucker. But you know what I mean? Okay, I think I got this.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I got it. But quiet.
Yeah, when you're used to him, ooh, let's cover or whatever, DX or if you're not down with that, we got being in the electrifying environment with a microphone and the world is watching, etc. So yeah, that's interesting. So yeah, I mean that's where we're at, and SmackDown I think continues to be pretty decent. I think
probably because they're actually
they carry things over.
Yeah, they actually carry things over. They actually are things that you might miss. I mean, and once again, maybe this has to do with this feud. The fact that now you have
it's expanded things.
I think the one problem with that was, like I said, the fact that Cena only worked really Raw, and because you can't take the WWE champion over to SmackDown at this point. Right. You can't really further that feud.
There's no brand, no brand extension. It really, the World Heavyweight Championship is a little consolation prize compared to the WWE Championship. As we've continued to say.
I still have this feeling that Damien Sandow cashing in at Battleground. I know I said maybe Night of Champions, but he's just it has to happen eventually. Obviously, some people think he's gonna fail because we haven't had one for a while, except for John Cena right now. So, and as someone said, there needs to be more fails happening because otherwise people just are gonna say it's a given.
It's an automatic.
Yeah, and you don't want people to get that. I don't think.
Same with like the Royal Rumble. You knew right when Cena won. It was unfortunate. You knew right
though it sounds like after Rob, which supposedly is going to finish up at the end of October, I think is when he's going to leave.
Yeah, which, maybe even mid-October because it came in like mid-July, so it might even be. Yeah.
So it sounds. Supposedly, we know who Ricardo Rodriguez's new guy's going to be. Supposedly, it's a guy who hasn't been on in a very long time. But somebody who I think makes a lot more sense to be Ricardo's manager. Yeah, Rey Mysterio's. Yeah. To have him be thrown right into a feud with Alberto, I don't know about that, but welcome back. The guy's had so many knee problems over the years. Yeah. I really think he's on his last home.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, I think he's getting close to the R word happening pretty much for him, which is retirement. I mean, but once again, it's his call. But I just, you keep having these injuries here, it's going to happen eventually.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's pretty. I guess that's pretty much that. WWE revealing more about WWE 2K14 in a little commercial. Some of the matches that are going to be in the WrestleMania mode.
Yeah, I mean, there's Hulkamania runs wild. Pretty much all of the. Well, first of all, every WrestleMania from 1 to 29 is going to have at least one match in this mode.
Yeah.
Some have 2, some have 3. I mean, and some only have 1. But yeah, no, I mean, like, there's Hulk. actually gonna write down every match in that, but Tyler shut up and I can't remember. I can't memorize all the matches in my head.
Yeah,
but
pretty much just have to play the game, and
it's pretty much it's divided into like different sections. It's Hulkamania 1's Wild, which, as you know, is the whole Hulk Hogan era pretty much. The New Generation mode, which is pretty much Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, with a little bit of Stone Cold Steve Austin in the end. The Attitude Era, which of course is Steve Austin, The Rock.
Yeah.
Even has the classic McMahon in every corner main event for WrestleMania, which I didn't think they even included in the game. But you know, I'm actually looking forward to that. That there were some nice spots in that match. If I remember right as a kid. Let's see. After that, Ruthless Aggression Era.
Yeah.
Which pretty much focuses
unfortunately, we're not going to see any Kurt Angle matches here.
No Kurt Angle, no Eddie Guerrero. There were no Eddie Guerrero matches. No, obviously no Chris Benoit ones. For an obvious reason.
But yeah, I mean, like the Lesnar Angle one from WrestleMania, that would have been a cool one. Unfortunately not.
No, but the Brock Lesnar has a match, and it's against Bill Goldberg.
Bill Goldberg, yeah.
The snooze fest. So, and like I said, it's kind of like Attitude Era, which is to get all these sweet cutscenes, you got to do certain objectives.
Yeah.
And remembering that Goldberg Brock match.
Yeah.
I hope if they want to make this as realistic as possible, the cutscenes have to be that the fans just start shitting on both of them, and both of them just start not giving a shit about how good the match is, pretty much. Because I remember it was nothing but a lot of holds. Then finally, they both took each other down with a takedown.
They waited a while, and then they like.
You can watch that match, Tyler, and really stopwatch. It's literally like 7-8 minutes until an actual wrestling happens, and all you have is Austin keep saying, "Come on, guys." And supposedly what Austin said in interviews every time is, because they said this was Brock's last appearance, he was going to go try out for the Vikings, and we know how that turned out.
Goldberg was going
to retire, pretty much, going to retirement. So nobody wanted to get hurt. They both had projects that were waiting for him when they came out. So
wasn't very inspired.
Yeah, so they weren't going to do any crazy, like Brock was not going to do anything crazy like he did against Kurt, and Goldberg used to do some crazy stuff back in WCW, and he didn't do any of that in the match. I mean, like, really, all happened was they would tie up, and all Austin would hear is, Goldberg would say, "Hey, Brock, let's do this." "Oh, no, I can't do that. I might hurt myself." And Brock saying, "Well, let's do this." "Oh, no, I can't do that. I might hurt." That's all it was. And then very soon it was, "Okay, what do you want to do?" I don't know. What do you want to do?" I mean, literally, Austin, like, literally said, I was this close to just running off the turnbuckle and just clotheslining both of them, and I would have got a better reaction than these guys.
Yeah.
I mean,
like, what are the objectives going to be for that? Like, like stand still and do not touch the controller for 7 minutes. Yeah. So, but yeah. And of course, you got the once in a lifetime, which eventually became twice in a lifetime.
That's what that era is not going to be called the PG era. It will be called the WWE Universe era, I believe. So you get 28, which has 3 big matches in that show, pretty much. Which is not going to be Daniel Bryan versus Sheamus. It's not going to be Daniel Bryan versus Sheamus, which was the start point for Daniel Bryan's career, pretty much.
Yeah. Objective to beat Daniel Bryan and pin him with 19 seconds.
Objective for Daniel Bryan. Use this moment to catapult you to stardom. Because that's pretty much what happened with that match. But no, Brock. It's Triple H, Undertaker, and the end of an era match, pretty much.
That was good.
Chris Jericho, CM Punk, the first once in a lifetime moment. 29. I already told you it's Punk, Taker, Lesnar, Triple H, and of course the last match is Cena Rock rematch. And the guy was joking about how there's no WrestleMania 30 matches. I'm like, because WrestleMania 30 hasn't happened yet. I guess isn't that 30 years of WrestleMania? Like, yeah, because this is the 30th anniversary coming up. That's why. Not because, here's our preview of the card for this WrestleMania 30.
Maybe it'd be cool maybe if they did you played some kind of story mode and then they come up with WrestleMania 30 somehow.
But no, I mean it's pretty much like you said. The first match is I do this. The first match is WrestleMania 1, Andre the Giant versus Big John Studd. Now that match, if I recall, was a body slam match, which was pretty simply put: you body slam your opponent, you win the match.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's gonna be the objective in this one, just because of how easy it probably is to do a body slam. Unless they have like some new gameplay.
Unless maybe that's like the first.
To me personally, I would have rather have seen the main event of WrestleMania 1 it featured, which was Hulk Hogan and Mr. T versus Paul Orndorff and Roddy Piper,
Yeah.
with Muhammad Ali as the referee. I should say guest referee. The real referee was Pat Patterson in that one. Along against and with Bob Orton in the corner of Piper and Orndorff, and Jimmy Snuka in the corner of Hulk Hogan and Mr. T. But I guess because you have a lot of legends in that one, it just would have, not to mention Muhammad Ali,
for one,
it would have made, I guess it makes no sense, really. So, I'm happy. I'm fine having it be Andre and Big John Studd.
Yeah.
It is Andre the Giant. He hardly gets featured, I think, in enough games. I think after that, WrestleMania 2, it's Hulk Hogan and Big King Kong Bundy in their steel cage match. Once again, if you ever saw the match, it's really a forgettable match. The steel cage is kind of sad by today's standards as far as height, and the color is blue. It's that old blue steel cage. But I mean, to me, it doesn't start picking up to WrestleMania 3 when it's Savage, Steamboat, and then Andre Hogan. And after that, I think they start getting better.
Yeah.
So for WrestleMania 11, there was this one match on there. I can't believe they got thrown in there. That's The Undertaker versus King Kong Bundy at WrestleMania 11. I'm fine with it being Shawn Michaels and Diesel, which is the second one. But I don't know why they would say that was a classic match. Yeah. There's so much that happens in that match that just, including the Godfather stealing the Undertaker's urn and then turning it into a chain, a gold chain.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, the Godfather. I meant Kamu Mustafa.
Yeah.
But no. I mean, based on what I'm seeing, it looks like it's gonna be an amazing story mode. I think Attitude Era mode was pretty awesome.
Yeah, I thought it was decent. I don't know. I mean, I'm looking for I'm still looking for some kind of return to the Here Comes the Pain season mode and something like that.
I mean, honestly, for me though, I'm not buying the game.
Yeah.
Because Arkham Origins comes out that week, so that's what I'm going for. And I think they actually think Battlefront 3 comes out that same day too. So that'd be 2K14 has some competition from two pretty strong franchises.
Yeah, it always comes out at a time where there is competition.
No, they'll still tout it. It was the highest rated sports video game.
Yeah,
because it was the only one that came out that week.
Yeah.
If you came out against Madden, if you came out against Madden, I think Madden would kick your ass pretty bad.
I agree.
Especially with Madden,
But hey, it's the first time 2K Sports is doing it, and not THQ.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. But no, I'm definitely.
Hopefully, it's a bit of a refreshing change.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess that'll wrap things up here for the Great Wrestling Debate. We got one more week.
Yeah.
Next week.
That means Battleground predictions next week.
See what happens on SmackDown since it's been relatively relevant.
Yeah.
So that'll wrap things up. Stay tuned as always for whatever comes up here on this channel.